Welcome to Budget 2020 Discussions. I am Stacey Carmichael, and today I'm joined by Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, the Honorable Nigel Dharamlall. Minister, it's a pleasure having you in the program today.
Thank you, Ms. Carmichael, and I'm very happy to be on your program as well.
Thank you. Now, some general thoughts on Budget 2020 before we get into the specific questions.
Well, the Budget 2020 for us as a government is, firstly, it is an emergency budget, and I think we need to state that very unequivocally. The budget comes at an historic time in the year, meaning that it is in September. Usually budgets are presented at the beginning of the year. A lot of spending had happened already up until this point. And so in that context, I think Budget 2020 is very historic. I believe that Budget 2020 is the launch pad for what will happen in 2021. So many of the things that you see presented now that are being debated upon are basically laying the foundation for what obtains in the future years. So it is a platform budget, but even whilst that is so, it is also a budget that will seek to enhance lives by making sure that certain hardship measures that affected people before, that those are not there anymore. And so the budget serves as an impetus for our village economies and even our livelihoods moving forward.
Thank you very much, Minister. Now, with the budgetary allocation to your ministry, what are some of the plans or programs your ministry will be implementing?
Yeah, well, our ministry is very critical, I think, in the overall scheme of things. Whilst we have the ministry per se, we also oversee 70 NDCs, Neighborhood Democratic Councils. Those are the regulated villages or regularized villages across Guyana, particularly on the coast. We have 10 municipalities, including Georgetown, and we have 10 regional democratic councils or RDCs. So our sector is very dynamic. It's all-encompassing. And so from the ministry per se, there are 3 programs in the ministry that will focus heavily on redefining the way we work or the way we serve our people. And that specifically has to do with the policy administration aspects of the ministry. There is the aspect of regional development, which would look at one of the things His Excellency the President has spoken about a lot is decentralizing investment. And so regional development, we expect that moving forward, a lot of resources will be placed as well as investment in different parts of the country, especially and based on the characteristics of different regions. So regional development moving forward is really going to be critical. Earlier today, His Excellency met and spoke with the media jointly with U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. And one of the things they spoke about is the whole issue of investments coming into Guyana. And so regional development for us is going to take Guyana to a different level of integration, as well as the use of capital to drive the regional economy and the national economy. And of course, we have the local government aspect of our work, which deals primarily with servicing persons at a local level, and particularly to address issues or concerns of persons on an issue-by-issue basis. Part of that, too, is the whole issue of solid waste management. One of the things we intend to pursue very vigorously is a solid waste management bill that has been sitting with the last government for 5 years without any work on it. We now have some new industries in Guyana. We have, the investment portfolio in Guyana is diversified and it will expand further. So solid waste management also becomes a critical element in it. And so that, I believe, has a lot of work to be done on. And so we will have to work very vigorously to get a proper solid waste management act in place. We would have to have greater technical support, skills, capacity building in the ministry to ensure that those things happen. And even as I'm saying so, we have to work with the different municipalities, especially. Most of our markets are municipal-based markets. So this year we will complete All Boys Town, East Ryanville. We have quite a substantial investment in Monrepo, which is on the East Coast, as well as Curvaton, which is in Region 6. So This year you will find us stepping forward. I think next year you will find us running with a lot of what we have to do.
Thank you very much, Minister. Also, as we're on, you mentioned solid waste management. Also, how will the ministry be working along with the mayor and city council to ensure the enhancement of the capital city?
Yeah, part of our work has to do with enhancement and support to Georgetown. The president, in his first cabinet meeting, established an interministerial committee, inclusive of myself, who chairs the committee, the Ministry of Home Affairs, Public Works, and Agriculture. And we've met, we have done a reconnaissance of what needs to be done in Georgetown. That report has been presented to His Excellency. This budget will see the release of some resources. We intend to work with all municipalities, as we will work with Georgetown over the longer term. Georgetown requires specific support. It is our capital city, and the mere fact that His Excellency is leading an interministerial committee shows the interest of his government in ensuring that Georgetown is enhanced. The challenges of Georgetown, I do not think they're insurmountable, but it has to do with the way Georgetown is managed. And we have to separate Georgetown in the management of Georgetown from politicians. You know, they have quite a lot of good technical people who can actually manage the affairs of the city, but I think there is too much political involvement in the management of Georgetown. So Georgetown has to be cleaned up. We have begun, and we will continue. They are heavily indebted. I think the mayor shared with us some outstanding rates that they have. I think it is $6.8 billion. The interest on arrears is $143 billion. But then there are other issues that affect Georgetown. So I believe that specifically for Georgetown, we have to work with the citizens too. I don't think there is a lot of consultation with citizens in Georgetown, and I believe that as Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, we would have to work more closely with our citizens so that they have an integral role in determining what obtains in Georgetown and what their needs are. So it cannot just be decisions of the council imposed on citizens without the consultation and collaboration of our citizens.
Yes. And also, in your budget presentation, you spoke about rebuilding the local infrastructure. How do you factor in the hinterland in this plan?
Well, as I said, our ministry is all-encompassing. In total, our budget is beyond $50 billion. I think it's $51.232 billion. And so the hinterland infrastructure, we would, outside of the Ministry of Agrarian Affairs that deals directly and specifically with the villages and the village councils, we will be providing infrastructural support to link villages. We will be providing cooperation support and linking ministries. We will also be dealing directly with groups within villages. A significant aspect of what we will do too, and this goes beyond the hinterland, has to do with building community projects that are sustainable, but also have an economic element that contributes to the livelihood of people in the hinterland, as we will across the country.
Thank you very much, Minister. Any closing remarks on Budget 2020 before we wrap up the program?
Certainly. We look forward to the bipartisan support of all involved, the government as well as the coalition in opposition. We believe that Guyana has gone through a phase which none of us would want to return to. And now that we are mature enough to get to this point, I think that all of us have to work together to ensure that the interventions of the budget meet our citizens. They're very telling interventions in terms, especially pro-poor policies of our budget. So I expect that all of us are going to work vigorously to have implementation done as quickly as possible.
Thank you very much, Minister. And thank you very much, listeners and viewers. This has been a Budget 2020 discussion.